From birth, humans have an innate preference for sweet tastes. This attraction is deeply rooted in our evolutionary history. Sugar provided our ancestors with a quick source of energy. Today, our love for sugar persists, despite lifestyle changes. This primal urge is evident in infants. Sugar is the primary energy source for our brains. However, modern diets are overloaded with refined sugar. Overconsumption can lead to health issues like diabetes and heart disease. Sugar triggers brain reward pathways, making us crave more. The sensation of sweetness begins on the tongue, where specialized taste receptor cells reside. These microscopic sentinels are tuned to detect different tastes, including sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. When we consume sugary foods or drinks, sugar molecules bind to these receptors, triggering a signal that travels to the brain. This signal is relayed through a complex network of nerves to the gustatory cortex, the part of the brain responsible for processing taste. Here, the signal is interpreted as sweet, and a cascade of events is set in motion. The brain doesn't simply register the presence of sweetness, it also assigns a value to it. This value is influenced by a variety of factors, including our genetics, past experiences, and current emotional state. For example, someone who has a history of eating a lot of sweet foods may find that their brain assigns a higher value to sweetness than someone who eats a more balanced diet. This intricate interplay between our taste buds and our brains helps to explain why we find sugary foods so appealing. The initial sensation of sweetness is just the beginning of a complex process that ultimately influences our food choices and eating behaviors. Beyond the simple pleasure of taste, sugar exerts a powerful influence on our brains by activating the reward pathway. This ancient neurological circuit is responsible for reinforcing behaviors that are essential for survival, such as eating and reproduction. When we consume sugar, the brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure, motivation, and reward. Dopamine acts as a chemical messenger, signaling to the brain that something pleasurable has just occurred. This surge of dopamine creates a feeling of euphoria and reinforces the behavior that led to it, in this case, consuming sugar. This is why we often experience a rush of pleasure after eating a sugary treat. However, the brain is designed to seek balance and avoid overstimulation. With repeated exposure to sugar, the brain adapts by reducing the number of dopamine receptors or decreasing the amount of dopamine released. This phenomenon, known as tolerance, means that we need to consume more and more sugar to achieve the same level of reward and satisfaction. This adaptation can lead to a vicious cycle of cravings and overconsumption. As we become less sensitive to the rewarding effects of sugar, we may find ourselves seeking out even sweeter foods and drinks in an attempt to recapture that initial feeling of pleasure. Section 4. Sugar and addiction, a complex relationship. The brain's response to sugar and addictive substances is strikingly similar, suggesting sugar may be addictive. Sugar can hijack the brain's reward system much like drug addiction. It triggers dopamine release, creating euphoria and reinforcing sugar consumption. Over time, tolerance builds, requiring more sugar for the same reward. This leads to cravings, overconsumption, and withdrawal symptoms. More research is needed, but sugar's effect on the brain is undeniable. Section 5. Finding balance, enjoying sweetness in moderation. While the science behind our sugar cravings is fascinating, it's important to remember that we are not slaves to our biology. While it may be difficult to completely eliminate sugar from our diets, we can learn to manage our intake and make healthier choices. One of the most effective ways to regulate dopamine levels and reduce sugar cravings is to adopt a balanced diet that is rich in whole, unprocessed foods. This means focusing on fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains, while limiting our intake of processed foods, sugary drinks, and added sugars. In addition to dietary changes, there are other things we can do to manage our sugar cravings. Regular exercise, stress management techniques, and adequate sleep can all help to regulate dopamine levels and reduce our reliance on sugar for a quick fix. By understanding the science behind our sweet tooth, we can make informed choices about our diets and lifestyles. Remember, enjoying the occasional treat is perfectly fine, but moderation is key. By finding a balance between our innate desire for sweetness and our long-term health goals, we can satisfy our sweet tooth without derailing our well-being.